I think if you picture what it's like to work at the typical tech environment like Google or Facebook, I don't know if you know much about what it's like to work at those places. Typically, the software industry seems like it treats employees pretty well. There's a lot of good perks and you don't have to wear a suit and whatever. You know, I left education and had this like, I don't want to work for the man and be caught in the rat race, and I want to work for myself. And I had all these visions of like, I want to be a musician and I'm going to make YouTube videos and I'm going to have more of my own time. And I'd sit at my desk in London going, this is amazing. I've got so much free time. I can work anywhere and I can do whatever I want whenever I like. And I basically just sat at that desk. And all I tried to do every day was like crave stability. Like I wanted a record label to support me, or I wanted a book publisher. I should have just got a fucking job. And now I have one. I sort of feel like I really missed a trick that I didn't do one like years ago, because I could have just, my videos really don't take long. I could have just done them on the side. Anyway, this is my work uniform for my new job. It's a hoodie and a t-shirt. My new company. Oh, do you want to, you're not interested anymore, no? Do I need to put my glasses on? I do look blurry, right? Well, I can't film the whole video like that, so you're gonna need to stay with me. Okay, I got a new job and it's been 3 months that I've been there and I haven't really told you about it. Very much my idea of like a stereotypical cool tech company where you wear hoodies and there's like fizzy drinks and beer in the fridge, video game nights and board game nights, and people go climbing and there's a book club and they have chef classes that are paid for by the company. Oh, once a month they do this thing called Thirsty Thursday, which is on the last Thursday of the month, where all the company go out for drinks and the company pays for it. And the reason they do it on a Thursday is they said so that you can just spend your Friday hungover and still enjoy the weekend. Like, what kind of company is just throwing one of their own work days away so that you get to enjoy 2 of your own? It's so cool. I mean, I don't drink, but I've gone out on a Thirsty Thursday. I've stayed for like an hour or 2 and just had a couple of, you know, glasses of Coke or whatever. It's great. It's so much fun. The first day that I got there, they said in about an hour, we're going to have a meeting with everyone in the company, just to, everyone like checks in on what they're up to, so that you just get a sense of what's going on in different departments. And so you can introduce yourself to everyone in the company. I was like, oh fuck, that's pretty intense and nerve-wracking. I joined the meeting and the head of the company went, it's time to play catchphrase. What is happening? I don't know if you know the TV show Catchphrase. Georgia didn't, so I'll just show you this very brief clip.
Here's another catchphrase. Joe, lip read. Right, lip read, lip reader.
So the owner of the company presents me with this image of 2 kids holding, you know when you like play conkers, you've got like a string with a conker on the end, except one kid had a conker and the other kid had just like a division symbol hanging off a string. It was divide and conquer, right? That was the phrase. So I went, yeah, hi, I'm Alex, I'm new, I'm a developer, it's my first day, so looking forward to getting to meet everyone. If you're in the office, come and say hello to me. Is it divide and conquer? Like, yep. Thanks for playing. And then he just moved on to the next person. I have been at the company nearly 3 months now, and every week, so they do this meeting once a week, it's 40 minutes long-ish. It just goes very briefly, each person in the company says what they've been up to, and they have a rota for who is in charge of running the meeting. Usually most people come up with some kind of game or quiz. We have played The Price is Right, Family Fortunes, higher or lower with the chili spice index. I can't remember the name of it, but basically we would get a chili and then the next person would have to guess whether the next chili was more or less spicy than the last chili. We had quotes presented to us once and we had to guess whether the quote was from The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, or from the English footballer Wayne Rooney. That one was called Wayne or Dwayne. That was a pretty good one. Everyone gets to put their own creative spin on it, and it led me to what I think is my favourite work-related email I've ever sent, which was me telling Georgia I was going to be late for lunch because we were playing Choose Your Own Adventure in the weekly stand-up meeting. I had this idea for mine that I could recreate lots of different album covers, and people would have to guess the album based on my silly recreations. On the rota, I was put in at the end of November, so I've got some time to do that. Basically, the company is just so there's no probation. As soon as you start, you just work there. You're on the pension scheme straight away. The pension scheme is 5%. I don't know if you care about this, but I'm really into, like, when I go to an interview and they go, "Have you got any questions for us?" I go, "Yeah, what's your pension percentage?" And they usually don't know. And then they're like, "Oh, we'll try and get that information for you." And I go, like, if you don't know off the top of your head, it's not a deal breaker. Like, I'm not going to decline an offer based on your pension percentage, but I find it really interesting because it's basically free money, and the higher it is, the more that tells me about how much you care about your employees and how much you're doing as a company. And anyway, our pension percentage is really good. You don't have to like stamp in or out, you know, you just turn up. You don't have to like book into the office. So the office is like just down the road from where I live. I've been going in most days, but now it's been getting colder. I've been usually getting in about 7:38 in the morning, and not between 7:30 and 8. I mean, not like 7:38 specifically. And I usually stay until about lunchtime. I've been coming home for lunch every day, and because George has been working from home, so we have lunch together, and then I go back into the office. But now it's getting colder, I've just decided to stay home. So I spend the mornings in the office, and then I just sort of flop on the sofa for the last couple hours. As long as you get your work done, no one's checking. They're so good. Oh, and they have unlimited holiday. So there's a statutory minimum in the UK. You have to take a certain amount of days off every year. So you have to take that. So there is a tracker to make sure you're taking your minimum amount of holiday. Beyond that, you can take as much holiday as you want, subject to some pretty obvious caveats where you don't completely take the piss. So if you're taking up to a week off at a time, no one's going to notice. You don't even have to ask for approval. You just book it out in your calendar. So as long as you're not taking enough holiday that people start going, is Alex in ever? It's fine. No one will pay any attention. If you take more than 1 or 2 weeks off, then you do need to get approval for it. But that's just basically a formality. The owner of the company said to me once, like, if you feel like, you know, you need for the next month, I need every Friday off because I want to work on this personal project, or I've got like a family thing at home, they'll just be as accommodating as possible. Like, their philosophy is, why would you want to work anywhere else? That's like the feeling they want to engender in their employees, and they give us so many amazing benefits. I get a free like cup of coffee once a week at Cafe Nero. Not that I drink coffee, so I don't really use that, but I get that most people enjoy that, and that's cool. There's a tech scheme where I can buy like up to £1,000 worth of technology. So like if I want a new phone or a games console or whatever, the company will pay for it, and then I pay it back out of my salary over the next 12 months. So it's pre-tax. So I essentially save money because I save like the tax rate on what I would have spent. Oh, they're so great. And they pay well, and everyone's just so fun. Like, I'm just laughing constantly when I'm there. There was this person who just left who's a designer, and I asked her at length why she was leaving, because I was like, why would you leave here? And she like explained to me her reasons and what she wants out of design, and everything's really interesting. And I sort of dropped her in it because Thirsty Thursday that month was the day before her last day. It was like her last leaving drinks, and we had the silly company stand-up games meeting the next day, and the person who was scheduled to do it was off sick, and so we all volunteered her to do it, and she was drunk, and she went, oh, I'll do it, and then she forgot. The next morning I went on Slack. I was like the first one in the office, and I was like, and we're all looking forward to Holly's presentation today because she bravely volunteered to step in at the last minute. Good luck, Holly. We can't wait to see what you got for us. And she was like, oh, did I say that? And I was like, yeah, it's a good thing I've reminded everybody. Now you can do it. And she threw something together at the last minute, which was very funny and really good. And then the next person who was supposed to do the stand-up was off sick the following week. And everyone agreed, since I dropped Holly in it, that karma decides that it's only fair that I should be the one to fill in at the last minute, which meant instead of having like 2 or 3 months to come up with my amazing album presentation, I had 1 week, and that is not enough time to recreate 50 album covers. So I messaged Pierce on the Discord and said, because he's really good at Photoshop, and I was like, can you help me Photoshop me into these album covers? And he did such a phenomenal job that I'm just going to give you the presentation now. So for each person, I just asked, how are you doing? What you've been up to this week? And guess the album. And so, for example, here we go. Guess the album. And that is, of course, AC/DC, Back in Black. Most people didn't know the album, but they knew the artist. So I'd show them, and they'd be like, oh, the Beatles. And I'm like, it's not Guess the Art. I got actually really tetchy. It's not Guess the Artist, is it? Guess the album. I don't know the album. Well, you've not got the point then. All right, so this is the next one. And guess the album. I'm just going to give you a second or so that you can pause it. I'm not going to give you that long. So for example, have you paused it? Have you thought about it? I'm going to tell you the answer. So if you want to pause it, think about it. Okay, this is the answer. It's, of course, 1989. Now you know. It's obvious, isn't it? You can see it's obvious. So here's the next one. Guess the album. I'm just going to give you a second, then I'm going to tell you the answer. That's going to be the format going forward. All right. So the album is, of course, it's Billie Eilish. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Okay, guess the album. Pretty easy one, this one. It is, of course, Abbey Road by the Beatles. Couldn't even be bothered to stand in a real street. That is purely photoshopped from my living room. Didn't even want to change my clothes. Guess the album. Not a Real Cigarette, where that photoshopped in, don't worry. That is pretty proud of that one, to be honest. That is whatever people say I am. That's what I'm not, by Arctic Monkeys. Guess the album. Hope you're doing well so far. This one is, of course, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. And again, bear in mind, you do pause it before I tell you the answer, because I'm not giving you much time. I'm sort of taking it for granted that you're going to pause it and take all the time that you need. Okay, guess the album. Quite a hard one, this one, because it's very generic. But when you know it, it does look... Just give you a second, okay? And the album is... It's Britney Spears. Baby One More Time. Cool, guess the album. Pretty self-explan. This is actually Elvis Presley. It's the self-titled... So this is one of the few examples where guessing the artist actually does get you the point for the album. It's Elvis Presley by Elvis Presley. Guess the album. No one at work got this because they all don't know modern music, but this is in fact, and I hope you know it, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. Maybe my favourite album this year. Absolutely love this. What's this one? This is The Clash, London Calling, and actually they ripped off the font from the Elvis one. Just a little bit of album trivia for you there, because Elvis was known as the king of rock and roll. Wanted to like sort of do a little pastiche of that. Guess the album. Do you know this one? I couldn't even bother to put shoes on. This is Let Go, by Avril Lavigne. Bear in mind I presented this to work colleagues and I intentionally chose Comic Sans and it went down well. Guess the album. So there's a point where they start to just become grotesque. This one, if you didn't know, this is, give me a second to think about it. This is Thriller by Michael Jackson. An uncanny resemblance there, I think you'll find, by me. Guess the album. Pretty good. If you look too closely at it, it looks sort of like a serial killer has like cut off the face of a victim and put it on their own face. This is, of course, Madonna, True Blue. I tried to get a mix of old albums and new albums in there. So, Madonna, True Blue. Guess the album. This is an easy one. Again, one of my favourites, this one. I think it turned out really, really well. This is Ariana Grande. It's My Everything by Ariana Grande. I will give you half a point for the artist. I'm guessing at this point. What I've learned doing this is that no one knows the names of albums. They just find songs they like and put them on a playlist. Fuck albums, am I right? Guess the album. At this point, most people say, David Bowie. Not an album, is it? And then they say, Ziggy Stardust. And I go, that's just another name for David Bowie. It's not the name of the album. The album is Aladdin Sane by David Bowie. Could have painted that on my face, chose not to. The laziest. I had a week to do this. Well, to be fair, Pierce had a week to do this. I did very little apart from take silly pictures of myself. Guess the album. Don't know if you'll know this one. This is Elvis Costello, My Aim Is True. So, next, guess the album. Oh, one of my faves. One of my favourite albums and one of my favourite recreations. It is, of course, you know it. It's Norah Jones, Come Away With Me. Can't even tell which is which there. Blimey. Guess the album. This is it's a classic album cover. It's Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here. Guess the album. This so this is I'll tell you this one now. This is The Chronic by Dr. Dre, of course. And I wanted the goofiest possible picture of me to contrast with that one. So I took a picture from when I did the Crystal Maze and I look like a fucking nerd. Alright, moving on. Guess the album. Pretty terrifying, this one. But actually, it does actually suit the style of the original album. If you're guessing somewhere in the region of the Rat Pack, Dean Martin type thing, you would be correct. This is Frank Sinatra, Come Fly With Me. Excellent work there. Guess the album. Never have I looked older than in this picture. This is 21 by Adele. Most people know that this is Adele, know that it's a number, and then can't remember the number. That's quite entertaining. So 21 by Adele. Next, guess the album. This was, I want to say, people at work's favourite one. When I say favourite, I mean they were all pretty horrified by it. This is the one that everyone talks about when they're talking about how good my present. Because at the end of this presentation, I got a standing ovation, and everyone said that was brilliant and had set a new bar for the meetings. And Shakira, this is Shakira Laundry Service. When Pierce asked afterwards, how did the meeting go? I said, everyone was pretty repulsed by Shakira, which I think is the first time that sentence has ever been said. Guess the album. Now, I'm going to tell you this one straight. You can't even guess this one, I don't think. I found this one on a list of worst album covers ever. This is, and I think you'll agree when you see the real one that I've done a pretty good job. This is, of course, Something Gonna Jump Out the Bushes by Nappy Brown. And that's that there. The plant is real. There's a real plant that I'm hiding behind. Alright, guess the album. This one I actually dressed up in. This is Patti Smith, Horses. The hair is fake, the rest is real. Okay, what about this one? Guess the album. Most people yell out, Bring Me to Life! It's not the album name, is it? You can't just say songs from it. This is Fallen by Evanescence. Great. Guess the album. Bit of Photoshop magic on this one. This is Oasis. Definitely Maybe. I realised that I should have taken it at a slightly different angle, but we're not going for perfection, are we? We're going for fun. There are so many of these. This one's great. There's a few that actually look like they could be legit album covers. Like I've thought of keeping them and maybe just using them in the future. This is one of them. This is one of the newer ones. It is Lewis Capaldi, Divinely Uninspired to a Hellish Extent. Guess the album. This one came up. You know, you're going around the room, you're asking each person in the company, like, guess the album, how's your week? And, you know, at some point, one of those people is going to be the CEO of the company. And I was like, oh, how's your week been? And then I showed him that and I went, how's your week been? Do I still have a job? It's not really safe for work, is it? This is a picture of an adult's face on a naked baby during work time. It is Nirvana's Nevermind. I just look like such an ogre. Anyway, guess the album. Now, I don't think that this is easy, but everyone seems to guess it every time. If you've guessed it, well done to you. It is Rick Astley, Whenever You Need Somebody, which is the album that Never Gonna Give You Up was from. Guess the album. Blink-182! Which one? I don't know. Well, that's not good enough. It is Blink-182's Enema of the State. Pretty good likeness there. Guess the album. Now, this is a bit of a trick one, I'm going to be honest with you. This is The Doors, and it is the very best of The Doors. I just thought it was quite an iconic image, so I wanted to copy it. I think it did quite a good job there. This one, I think you're probably not going to know, but I think you will agree. I've done a brilliant job recreating it. This is King Crimson in the Court of the Crimson King. Very pleased with that one. One of my best work. Guess the album. What are we thinking, guys? It is, and I'm sure you're already ahead of me, it's Tupac. All Eyes on Me by Tupac. What about this one? This is one of my favourite albums. This is the rare example where the real cover looks more photoshopped than my version. This is Born This Way by Lady Gaga. She's just a motorcycle. And that font is just like... You remember word art from Microsoft Word? Anyway. Guess the album. Nice and easy, this one. If you know it. If not, it's hard. This is Weezer. The Blue Album by Weezer. Alright. This is another one that I think could be one that I could just use for a greatest hits, maybe. Any ideas there? It is Johnny Cash, and it's American 4, The Man Comes Around, from the American series of albums by Johnny Cash. Guess the album. Just give you a moment to take that in. This is Susan Boyle, I Dreamed a Dream by Susan Boyle. We're near the end, but there are still so many more. This is, I'm going to tell you, it's Demon Days by Gorillaz. Again, most people say Gorillaz, Feel Good Inc. No points for that. What one's this? You'll probably know it. It's One Direction, Up All Night. And I am... That does look like, yeah, a photograph in a serial killer's house. So apologies for that. This one, I think, is amazing because it just looks like a photo of me. Pierce did such a good job. You might be thinking, Alex isn't even in that photo. Well, he is. When you see the original, you will see the differences. This is Grace by Jeff Buckley. You can tell because I don't look quite as much like James Franco as Jeff Buckley does. Guess the album. Classic album. It's by Muse. It's Absolution. Hope you're doing well so far. We've got a few more left. This is another one of the ones that I think I could just use this as an album cover. I think it looks really good. Again, a variety of genres to keep you on your toes. This is Confessions by Usher. I wore my own beanie for that one. Guess the album. It's Amy Winehouse. It's Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. We're in the lightning round now. So, quick as you can. This is, it's Justin Timberlake, Justified. I know what you're thinking. There's no difference between those two pictures. No, there is. I am the one on the left, but I know that we look remarkably similar. Guess the album. Anyone remember this classic? This is by James Blunt. It's Back to Bedlam. No pausing, we're in the lightning round. What's this one? Classic album. Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And I don't know if you'll know this one, but I found it on a list of best-selling albums in the United Kingdom. So I was like, well, enough people should know it, but no one ever seems to. This is Life for Rent by Dido. And this, I think, is the last one. This is kind of an inside joke for people at work. It's not an album, actually. It's the cover from a single. Most people guess Lionel Richie, and you'd be wrong. This is Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time. And this is the journey that we've been on. Thank you for playing. This is what I get paid to do.